This episode of DDO Players News is brought to you by the Skull Splitter Dice Company. SkullSplitterDice.com for all of your dice needs. And don't forget about the 2020 Dice Celebration Kickstarter that is ongoing now. Your chance to get 10 beautiful sets of dice. That's right, you have 10 different colors to choose from. Each of the colors on the new dice sets have been carefully handpicked, and each dice will feature gold foil inclusions and shimmer glitter effects that create a magical appearance. And of course, the Skull Splitter Double Axe logo we all love is in the 20 position on the D20s. The Fey Lord's Boon, the Pixie's Treasure, the Snow Maiden's Kiss, Andora's Fury, Feywild's Echo, Mermaid's Blessing, Pixie's Promise, Medusa's Mirror, Astral Silver, and the Ifrit's Eye are the colors you can pick from. So check them out over on the Kickstarter. Link will be in the show notes for this episode. Once again, thank you to the Skull Splitter Dice Company for sponsoring this episode of DDO Players News.
Good day, everyone. This is Polyf Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody, how's it going?
Hello there, Drac. How is everything going along in Ravenloft and Barovia?
Me, same old, but, we're hanging in there, as it were.
Well, you have to, because they won't let you leave.
I know, it's kind of annoying that way, but what are you going to do?
You wish to spread terror all throughout the world and...
Stupid curse.
Let's then go into game news and see what other curses there may be around. And looks like the only real news we've got is the Chronicle, issue 373, where we have a nice, quiet, picturesque environment. I guess you wish Barovia looked like that.
I do. Except the whole sun thing, other than
that. Oh, yes, there is that little sun thing.
There's that little, minor detail there, but, yeah.
Okay. Good place for you on a cloudy day, then.
Hey, there you go. I do believe this is from Borderlands Wilderness area, I think, is where our header is from this week. But yeah, game news. We just had the Chronicle this week. Let's jump right into it. Community Spotlights is Druid's Fire over at MMO Central. Recorded last week's chat during the Boston area player meetup. We talked about that last week extensively, so if you haven't listened to the show last week, listen to it. We give all of the roundup news that happened. But once again, big thanks to Druid's Fire over at MMO Central for recording that and releasing that.
All right. How long has she been with MMO Central?
Like forever. It's her site.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have I known Druid's Fire?
I don't know. Like, as long as there's been an MMO Central, she's been with them because it's her website.
All right. So, obviously, that's called being out of the loop in something.
So. Kind of cave you living in, Pineley?
I don't know. I occasionally hear about MMO Central. Of course, we're constantly hearing about Druid's Fire. I just didn't know that there was a connection between the two.
That's hilarious. Okay, now that's pretty funny. Elsewhere, players are already starting to hit hardcore Season 2 milestones. Congratulations to Targal for getting the Deathwalker's Cloak 2, and let's try that again. Congrats to HS Parks 1 for hitting 5K favor.
5K favor already?
Yeah.
Good girl.
Must be nice to have time just to play DDO.
And for me, in this amount of time, I'd be highly lucky to get 500 favor.
Right.
Assuming I survived that.
So that's just a couple of them. I'm sure there's a lot more since the Chronicle came out that have hit various goals on the hardcore server, but congratulations to all. And Toxic Coma, I love that name, is a regular DDO streamer over on Mixer. which you're starting to hear more and more about Mixer these days. Click over to check out his channel, and be sure to let Cordovan know if you're on Mixer as well, so they can start highlighting all the streamers over on Mixer. In the Fansite news section, we got a shout out for our episode last week. The Damsels of DDO are running Delara's, the epic version. Click over to watch their latest episode and then listen to the podcast. DDO stream, of course, is your first stop for DDO on Twitch. Brighter days ahead tonight is preparing for PAX. The Tale of Two is dual boxing, and Doug Glendower is celebrating his bard life. YouTube, also many people making videos. Joy-san is playing over on Kyber. Sector Alpha Gaming, that's a cool name too, runs an elf, and Samus Garobo is starting again. Massively OP is celebrating the 14th anniversary in style. Click over to check that out. And don't forget about Mickey's Delirium, tracking her weekly rating. Click over to see what Mickey has been doing in her rating schedule. We have a Chronicle comment, as we always do. What's the best way to die on the hardcore server?
The best way to die on the hardcore server. You know, I'm someone who isn't into the hardcore server, so
I would have to say the best way to die on the hardcore server is going to be to Leroy Jenkins it into a boss fight. That would be pretty epic.
Just don't do that when you're 5 favor from 5K.
That would not be recommended. True. Unless you maybe that can be how you can celebrate after you've turned in your 5K favor.
Yes. Make sure you turn it in first.
Turn it in, lock it in, and then go Leroy Jenkins into a boss fight.
I take it
that
then
would
that
be an epic way.
There isn't a leaderboard this time then?
There is. It's the same as last time with leaderboard for Reaper and regular, so.
Yeah, which means that if you go around getting killed, you're off the leaderboard.
You would, true. So if you care about the leaderboard, don't take my suggestion either. But if you just want to die in a pretty epic way, sure, go for it. Why not?
Well, I suppose there are some people out there who that's their main goal for the hardcore server.
Oh, yeah, of course. Probably plenty of people. Don't forget every Wednesday as well, Cordovan runs his weekly Wednesday live stream. Watch him this week fight himself.
What?
It's very Inception-like this week. He was running the anniversary quest. So he was fighting himself. It was, like I said, very Inception-like. It like blew my mind. I was like, whoa. Let's talk about our screenshot of the week in our Chronicle. Zandosis is celebrating the 14th anniversary in the 454th DDO screenshot of the week. Thanks to Zandosis for sending that screenshot in. Just hanging out by the secret standing stone out in the Borderlands.
I don't know, it's the coloration that it looks like in this shot. Makes me wonder, is it looked like more like a standing tree trunk than a standing stone?
Yeah. I admit, when I first glanced at that, I'm like, okay, I don't get it. Why are they standing by a tree? And then I clicked on it to pull it up full screen, and then I'm like, oh, they're by the standing stone. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, I can. Yeah, to me, I was able to tell it was the standing stone, but it just looks like the coloration still looks like a tree trunk. And I was calling it the stand. I was thinking of calling them Standing Tree Games or something. You know?
We will just rename them.
And that's our Chronicle then?
That's the Chronicle, 373rd issue.
So then what is for sale? Anything good?
Maybe. 25% off on the Adventure Alt sale. You can get Tomes of Learning, select low-level adventures, plus 2 ability tomes and character slots through March the 12th. The weekly coupons getting you a free small Jewel of Fortune. 5 of those jewels. Use the coupon code SMALLFORTUNE, and that runs through the 12th as well.
Let's go and see what's coming in from the dungeon. where Free League Publishing signs a deal to publish RPGs in Tolkien's Middle-earth.
You might remember a couple episodes back, we talked about how Cubicle 7 no longer had the Middle-earth license to publish RPGs. And when we were talking about that, we speculated, wonder if another company's going to pick up that license or what's going to happen, or we just won't have any RPGs set in Middle-earth anymore. We got our answer today with Free League Publishing announcing they have partnered with Sophisticated Games to publish tabletop role-playing games set in Tolkien's Middle-earth, of course, based on the books by J.R.R. Tolkien. The same people that were involved with the One Ring is going to be involved now. I'm not even going to pretend I can announce their names. But fear nonetheless, they're back. So it is the people that were responsible for the One Ring is going to be responsible for this. They have not announced if this is going to be the One Ring, like version, technically it would be 2 because 2 never came out. So is it going to be the One Ring version 2? And I'm assuming Adventures in Middle-earth version 2? Are they going to do something totally new? That they haven't announced. All they announced was they do have the license. There will be RPGs set in Middle-earth. Free League's CEO, once again, I'm just going to call him Thomas. I'm not going to even begin to pronounce the last name, says we are thrilled to be working with Sophisticated Games and that person that was responsible for the One Ring to bring... I'll let Ponley try to pronounce it. To bring into life a new edition of the One Ring and its 5e iteration. We grew up with J.R.R. Tolkien's iconic works and were huge fans of the original version of the game. We have very similar approach to game designs as that person, Francisco, sure we'll call it that, and we're convinced that we can create something truly special together. So I guess I misspoke. They did actually say this is going to be a new edition of the One Ring and 5e iteration. Maybe they won't call it Adventures in Middle-earth. Maybe they'll call it something else. But there will be a 5e iteration as well. So that's cool. The actual agreement is going to go into effect June 1st, 2020. Products and release dates will soon be announced. Stay tuned. We will definitely announce them once we get that information. But it's kind of cool to see that we're still going to have Tolkien RPGs.
Okay, and we'll see how this works out. We also heard that if you are into RPGs, especially ones that use varieties of dice, there is a Kickstarter that may be for you.
It is. It is from our sponsor, Skull Splitter Dice. If you listen to from the very beginning of this video and our podcast, however you're listening to this, you heard me talking about this. It's the Skull Splitter Dice 2020 celebration. This is your choice of 11 different dice sets you can choose from. The main difference is, of course, the colors in the dice set. You have 19 days to go as we are recording this podcast on Monday evening. It's well past their funding goal, so this is definitely funded. They're working on some stretch goals. They did unlock at $75,000. They unlocked a mystery pin stretch goal. So if you pledge for at least 2 sets of dice, you're also going to get a mystery pin as well. And then if they do make 100,000, they're going to have a mystery D20.
Ooh.
So they're working towards the D20 stretch goal right now. So I said this is an 11-piece dice set. It's everything you need to play pretty much, I would say, any RPG, because you have 11 of your standard dice. Different colors. The colors have really awesome names. The Feylord's Boon. That is
that
green
one looks
color
nice
dice.
to me.
Yeah,
The pine leaf color, yes.
yeah, well, exactly. The Feylord's Boon, also known as the pine leaf dice. We have the Pixie's Treasure. That is pinkish, I guess is the best way to describe it.
It's I guess somewhere in the pink or magenta. It's sort of a magenta.
Yeah, I guess it would be more magenta than maybe a cross between pink and magenta. They do have the Snow Maiden's Kiss. That is a blue. I'm usually not a big fan of blue, but I kind of like this blue color. Andar's Fury, that's an orange color.
Right.
The Feywild's Echo, that's another green. It's not as
this
dark
is
a
more
green.
this is a more of a almost like a overly bright one.
Yeah. Kind of neat. Not quite neon, but it's inching towards the neon category, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
And they have the Mermaid's Blessing. That, too, is another blue set of dice. Don't like this color as much as I like the other blue set. And then we have the Pixie's Promise. This is, again, pinkish.
It's...
I guess is the best. This one's kind of hard to explain, actually, what the actual color of this one is.
It's also sometimes a little bit hard to read.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this one is a little. I will give you that. Then we have the Medusa's Mirror. It's kind of like a dark. It's got some really dark purples and blacks and browns in it. It's
sort
kind
of obsidianish, like.
Yeah. This one's kind of cool too. I kind of like this one as well. The Astral Silver, again, kind of a purple pinkish. This one's pretty sweet looking too. And then we have the Afreet's Eye, which is our red set. Really like this. And I should have mentioned to you that on all of the dice sets, the 20 is going to be the Skull Splitter dice logo. So that's pretty cool that's on the actual 20.
Yeah, you better remember that so that when you see the Skull Splitter logo, you're not, know that's your 20 because
right. It's like, oh no, I rolled a 1. Oh wait, no, that's the 20. Cool.
Yes.
As I said, you have 19 more days to go on this. You can get one set of the dice, any choice of your color, at $15. And 2 sets will run you $28. And once again, you pick whichever set that you want. And then they do have some more higher tiers where you can get 3 sets, 4 sets, 6 sets, 10 sets, 15 sets, 20 sets, and 80 sets if you need that many dice.
Yeah, that's a lot of 80 sets. That's you have to be a retailer to win 80 sets.
That's more of a retailer pledge without calling it a retailer pledge. Though, I guess if you would have like a big gaming group or whatever that would get together, just one person could go in for the 80 and then you could split the dice and split the cost, I guess. If you have like a large gaming group or something. But yeah, I would say it's more of a retailer pledge.
And let's head off and see what's on the tabletop. And we'll begin with the Gamma Expo, which was that supposed to be this week or something?
Yeah, it's coming up the end of this week.
The end of this week, but it's not apparently going to be very well attended.
No, there is a lot of game publishers and game companies pulling out. And the reason why they're pulling out of it, of course, is due to COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus. This is being held in Las Vegas. Well, actually, it's outside of Las Vegas. I forgot the city. I think it's Reno, I think is where it's at. So it's not really Vegas, but it's in Nevada nonetheless. And they do have, I looked it up to see how many confirmed cases were in Nevada. And they're, I think, in the 40s, 45s or something like that, like confirmed cases. And then a lot of these companies are just worried about, okay, you're going to have a lot of people together. That's where you can contract this, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure everybody's seen the news. Everybody knows what COVID-19 / the coronavirus is. But there is some major exhibitors and actually sponsors of the show that pulled out. Wizards of the Coast would have to be the biggest name, I think, that pulled out. Star City Games, Lion Rampant Imports, GTS Distribution, Bushido Road, Crystal Cast, Flying Frog Productions, and Nord Games and Wolflord Games, just to name a few of the companies and game publishers that have pulled out. So this is kind of interesting because this is the first time in the gaming world that a convention has been affected by the coronavirus. If you're familiar with you've probably heard of the South by Southwest festival that's held in Austin, Texas every year. That was just canceled totally.
Right. Yeah, I did hear about that one.
And Emerald City Comic Con, which is in, of course, Seattle, that too was also canceled. But this is the first time directly affecting our hobby that companies are kind of have the whole fear, the whole worry about the coronavirus, so they have pulled out. I think it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with this, and to see, if this gets under control or it keeps to spread. What's going to happen at Gen Con?
Well, the thing about Gen Con is that coronaviruses have this tendency of, let's say, hibernating is not the right word, but let's say not exactly being at their peak trouble during the summer months. Like how the colds peak in the wintertime.
Right.
And many flus do that. So I have a feeling that there will at least be a lull by the time.
I would hope so, because that's the end of July. Gen Con starts.
So I'm expecting it to be
end of July.
Now, whether or not we have things in control enough so that it won't spike again when September comes around is another matter.
Right. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see, but it's just interesting that it's now affecting the gaming conventions. It has affected the gaming community in other ways. I know one of the Kickstarters.
A lot of Kickstarters
backed,
because a lot of the manufacturers are in China, and just about any project that was scheduled to go into production right at the end of the Chinese New Year has been delayed.
Yeah, because China locked down everything, and they just told people, you're not going to work, you're staying at home, everything's shutting down. So yeah,
in some ways they weren't even at home in many cases, because we're at wherever they were visiting.
Yeah, this kind of hit right about the Chinese New Year's when this whole thing first kind of spiked or whatever. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and how it's going to play out at Gen Con, if it does affect Gen Con at all. But we'll see.
We will see. Then next, let's head into Munchkin Critical Role is coming from the OP. Don't we? How many versions of Munchkin do we have?
We've talked about this before, finally.
Yes.
We have talked about this many times.
Yeah.
If you can name an IP, I guarantee you at some point they're going to make a Munchkin of that IP. Just like Monopoly, apparently now. Monopoly is the new Munchkin, I guess. Or Munchkin is the new Monopoly. How do you want to say that?
So that means next we're going to have Munchkin Monopoly?
Give the OP time. I'm sure the op will come up with that. Give them time. But yeah, this is, of course, is Munchkin. Everybody knows what Munchkin is. And Critical Role, everybody knows what Critical Role is. So these two worlds are going to collide. It's going to go crazy, I can guarantee you. The Vice President of Sales, Heather Campbell, over at the OP, says, we couldn't be more excited to release the game for fans of Critical Role and Munchkin and meet the ever-growing demand for both of the franchises. Of course, Munchkin Critical Role is going to bring Critical Role's weekly web series together with the Munchkin card game. Players are going to take risk, betray their friends, grab the loot, reach level 10, and win. So this will be interesting. The game is going to be available this fall in North America, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand for $24.99. That is the MSRP on it. Also announced, because we need more Critical Role merchandise, is going to be 2 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles for Critical Role.
2 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles. Okay.
So get your jigsaw puzzle on and get your Critical Role Munchkin on. Okay. I have
a big table though for
you. You would. I have several versions of Munchkin. I am excited for this one because I like
You
Critical
are?
Role. I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for this one. So, yeah. But this fall, no exact date other than the fall. But MSRP is $24.99. You can pre-order it now at your friendly local game store. I checked online. I haven't found anywhere where it's actually pre-orderable yet. There is just coming soon pages on most of the major online retailers. So as soon as it's actually pre-orderable, I will be sure to let you know. But Munchkin Critical Role coming from the up.
Then let's head into our weekend gaming. And Drac, what have you been up to?
Well, not a lot per se. Did play with you. I'll let you talk about that. I did play over on Argo with Saba. We did the Pirates of the Thunder Sea Epic Saga. Say that a couple times fast. Did it on Epic. Did it on Epic Normal, and some of them we did on Epic Hard. So kind of either normal or hard Epic version. But that was the Black Lock, Storm the Beaches, Bargain of Blood, Tide Turns, Spies in the House, Old Tomb, New Tenants, Prove Your Worth, Ghost of a Chance, and then Precious Cargo. And then we went, turned the saga in, and I got a crap ton of XP for doing the saga. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. Other than Spies in the House, not a big fan of Spies in the House. Not a big fan at all. We'll just leave it at that. I did play some D&D 5e. Talked about it last week that it was coming up. We wrapped up our Waterdeep Dragon Heist game. We actually finished it, got through it. It was episode 21. Nothing Dirty is the title. Ooh, what's that about, I wonder? Of course, this is the timey-wimey conclusion for the Waterdeep Dwarves. They close out Waterdeep Dragon Heist with the most unexpected ending ever. It involves
unexpected.
It involves the +1 drow.
Of course.
Because remember, I talked last week. I was quote unquote dead because I got put back in time, but I was dead. They had a wish they could bring me back if they would. And Bean, who was played by Bonnie Bew, we'll just say my fate was in her hands, and she just watch the episode to see the most unexpected ending ever. I will talk more about it next week because I don't want to spoil it. It's pretty epic, but yeah, I will tell you off air what happened because you're gonna just really, really laugh at what I have to go through now. But anyway,
okay.
Watch the episode. So much fun. When we start again, the whole group is going to start again. We're going to just jump directly into the Dungeons of the Mad Mage. So we're going right from Waterdeep into Undermountain and the Dungeons of the Mad Mage. So that's going to be coming soon over on Evil Beaker's YouTube. Of course, that is the bonus nights on D&D stream is what this group is. So stay tuned for that. Trying to think if I did anything else. It's the RPG that you reminded me about.
RPG that I reminded
Four
you.
Against Darkness, that's it.
Four Against Darkness, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I prepared to play that. I made a character, read over the rules. I'm super confused at a couple of the rules.
You'll have to ask me a couple of questions.
Yeah, I guess I might have to do that, or I might have to find a good YouTube how to play video. But I think I got it. So yeah, I'm going to check that out. Kind of excited to check that out. I did read another RPG product. I was sent a PDF to review of it. The name of it is called Five Torches Deep. It's a old school OSR / 5e because they took it's really cool what they did. They took like 5e rules, but they made them OSR type rules, so it's really cool. It's like a good mesh of OSR and 5e. So look for a review of that coming at some point. I have read over the PDF a couple times. I want to try to play it once though before I review it, but it gotta get my friends together, and sometimes that's quite the undertaking to do. But so look for that coming soonish.
Yeah.
Other than that, not really much else. Did a couple other things, but alas, I can't talk about them yet. So, what were we up to, and what did you do this week?
I'm just thinking about Bonnie View if managed to give you a fate worse than death.
She did.
Yeah,
She did.
there is something that comes into my mind which I have a feeling you don't want me to say out loud.
I mean, Bonnie, I love you to death, but you screwed the wish up, Bonnie.
Yeah, okay. So I guess you don't want me to say what my guess is because it
No,
is
let's
wrong
do it
there.
off air because
Oh,
I
fair.
don't
Okay.
want to spoil it yet because I want to give people the chance to watch the episode because it's pretty epic, and
Okay.
the party's reaction to it is
Yeah.
super amazing and epic. So
Okay. Then let's into my week in DDO or what we did together. And I was on my level 10 wood elf, and you were on your level 10. What were you playing? You're playing a drow, or you're playing? You're playing a rogue at least. That
yes,
much I know.
it's Wood Elf, the
Oh, that's right.
Vistani Night Fighter.
We're both doing Wood Elves, right?
Yes,
That's right, because we started just as Wood Elves were released.
yes, yep,
Yes, so you're the rogue, I'm the druid. Yes, and
indeed.
we went into a winery and ran the last vintage. And then we saw that the next quest was Yesterhill, and I just didn't feel like running Yesterhill at level 10.
I tried to
With
convince you, but you were having none of it.
I was having none of it. And then you remembered that, oh yes, we have the anniversary going on. So we headed out and did the anniversary quest. And once that was done, we headed over to Thurnal and ran escort the expedition, then hold for reinforcements. And that got us to level 11. I think our plan is currently to finish up Thurnal if possible, or at least as far as we can get on that. Then we can head back to Ravenloft.
Yeah, because we want to get the cloak of the or the mantle of the world shaper. So yes,
Right.
so yes, so where I think that's what we're gonna do next time we play is do the rest of Thurnal because we've got quite a bit to go. But Thurnal is one of those quest chains I enjoy. It's just so long and tedious and long, but I do enjoy the well. Let me rephrase that. I enjoy most of the quest.
Yeah. They want you to earn that mantle.
Yes, yes, they do.
Then in Minecraft, I ran Mage Rage for March, the first one, week number 1 for March of 2020, where I was expected to look for 9 items, all colored red. And I'm just wondering, is is Ed planning for us to look for things of a specific color all this month? Because I'm just thinking that week number 3 will be crying for everything to be green because it's St. Patrick's Day and all.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense.
So I'm thinking that, well, actually, that's both St. Patrick's Day and right about when we get astronomical spring. So both of those things coinciding. Sounds like they'll be asking for some green there, I suspect, in week number 3. So I'm wondering if he's going to be trying everything blue for this week's or something like that. I guess I'll find out in a few days. Then in my Pintopia world, where I am building the Temple of Mareka, well, while I did start to do some building in there, starting on the second floor and doing the layout for where the various rooms are, I spent a lot of my time really doing things like actually building a mob farm, which finally getting this mob spawner I had where I was just a really, really primitive mob farm to something that is, at least I'm putting all the mobs into the same place and forcing them to be in the same place to make it easier for me to use the mob farm now. So I'm doing that, and I used that in order to get enough experience. So now I'm finally able to do enchanting now, and I've finally have a couple of enchantments that I want on there. And the other thing I noticed around this time is that I think that I'm going to hold off and going to Nether because I was trying to think whether or not to go into the Nether. But I think that instead of doing what I was doing the last couple of seasons where I would change seasons when the next update came out, since the next update is all about the Nether and all the real changes are in the Nether unless they pull a surprise soon, that I might just keep the same seed, but not, or I should say, keep the same world and just go into the Nether when the new release happens. But that's something still to think about. I don't know how long it'll be before the next update's going to be. Probably a few more months, though. And in tabletop, speaking of For Against Darkness, see, that would have reminded you if.
Actually, to be honest, that's how I remembered what it was because I glanced down and I'm like, oh yeah, there it is.
Okay, yeah. In For Against Darkness, I ran the March challenge in the. There's a solo game challenge. There, there's a blog on Board Game Geek where they keep track of the challenges for throughout the year for solo gamers, and one of them it looks like the first one was in mid-January, but it looks like it gets going to have the For Against Darkness ones every so often. Someone's looks like going to be running them, and this month's challenge is called the Common Fall Infestation. In this case, you have only a single character, a cleric, so I guess it's one against darkness. And your cleric is going in there whose main job is to kill rats and kill spiders. And then, of course, get back out alive.
But is it killed 10 rats?
Well, the main thing you got to do is to kill the 3 spiders.
Okay.
And the rats are basically the tiebreaker. In other words, if 3 or 4 people kill all 3 spiders, then whichever one killed the most rats would be the winner, would be the champion of the challenge. So I get in there, I killed a few rats, of course. I poked around in a room, and I poked around a room that turned out to have lots of centipedes in it. And I can tell you right now, against a single character, centipedes are deadly. I know it's hard to imagine. They're giant centipedes, of course. Regular sized centipedes, I don't think should be able to be that deadly. But yeah, they chewed me up instantly. Okay. So much for that. So I failed the quest because I died before I killed any spiders. Then I played a couple of rounds of Orchard, which included also, I believe, my best round for that. So that was good. So I started to get better on that. And I played a game that I got a couple of months ago called Blight Chronicles Agent Decker, where you're trying to infiltrate a compound that's held by a gang and who kidnaps someone, and you're trying to find out what's going on in there, trying to rescue the person and get information about them. And let's just say I didn't quite succeed. So I got to go get better. That was my first attempt at playing the game. So I'd say getting to near the end of the third route through the third part of the mission is probably not too bad. But I do hope to someday be able to finish the final stage of that mission. We'll see how that goes. And that's what I did this week. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, simply go to the day. Yes.
I knew that was going to throw you off.
Oh yeah, it's really, you're really, you really.
I was waiting for you to get to this part because I knew you probably didn't pre-read at the end. I'm like, oh, this is going to mess my up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be amazing.
Yes.
Feel free to ad-lib.
Yes. If you'd like to help support us, the money that you donate will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and help pay for our live shows. And if you wish to donate, you could go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast territories, where you guest with us for an episode of DDO Players News. And if you'd like to donate without being a patron, you could please send Drac an email at drac@ddoplayers.com.
Messing with Pine Leaf is so much fun.
Apparently so. That is your hobby.
It is. It is. I admit it. It is.
If you
would
like,
though.
Yeah. If you'd like to contact us, you can send an email to podcast@ddoplayers.com, and you can also Twitter at the Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Dracula at Dracula_72, and Polyneals. You can follow Drac on Dracula_72. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Mondays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locha Players News. Please note that the United States just went into daylight savings time, so if you're outside the United States and you have a different alignment for those, then please take that into account. And of course, when your own country goes into daylight time. So I heard a rumor that this year is the last year that the EU is doing daylight time.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they yes, I heard. Yes, one person from France was talking about. He says, "Yes, unfortunately, this is the last year we're going to have to go through that." So they're talking about that. Apparently, at first I thought that might have been France only, but I've heard from other sources. No, it's the EU that general is going off of daylight time. Now we could just convince the United States to do that, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Please.
I know. Drac wants a little bit more dark during the summer daylight hours. During the summer
Indeed,
nights.
too sunny. Too sunny.
Yes, too sunny for him. Yes. You can join us for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Polyneals reminding you to quest responsibly.
This episode of DDO Players News was brought to you by the Skull Splitter Dice Company. SkullSplitterDice.com for all of your dice needs, from metal dice to regular dice. If it is a dice and you need it to play RPGs, you can find it at the Skull Splitter Dice Company. SkullSplitterDice.com. Don't forget about the Kickstarter. Link will be in the show notes so you can get in on the 10 beautiful dice they have up on the Kickstarter. Once again, SkullSplitterDiceCompany.com for all of your dice needs. Thank you so much for sponsoring DDO Players News.